Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Jennifer Rausch.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good.
We're doing good. Well, let's get this I can't speak this morning, but let's get this show started. So tell us a little bit about you. What do you actually do?
So I'm a real estate agent and associate broker for Compass. Don't know if you've heard of them yet. They're, through to Pittsburgh and they're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we work with Compass all over the place. That's awesome. When you what was your? Did you plan on being an agent when you grew up, or when you were younger? What did you plan on?
No, I had the little princess girl dreams of like being a Rockette and dancing and all that stuff. Never thought I'd be selling houses.
So how'd you get did you go to how'd you get to where you're at?
So originally, years ago, I was in the mortgage business, processing, underwriting. And I think it was 2008, whenever everything kind of crashed.
Yeah.
And I was in the subprime department, so they definitely went under. And so it was time to find something else because they closed the doors. And my husband's like, why don't you do real estate? You love looking at houses. You love interacting with people. And I said, you're nuts. No, we're not going to do that. But he talked me into it. And here I am. And I love it. I'm happy you did it.
How long did it take for him to convince you to do that, for you to change your mind and be like, this is what I should have been doing the whole time?
Right? Yeah, probably a good year.
Yeah.
And it was nervous. I mean, real estate isn't cheap.
Yeah.
You got all the fees, you got the classes, you got all the marketing, and you don't get paid unless you're doing well. So
right.
It was scary, but I'm happy I did it.
Awesome. When you first switched over into real estate, did you get any advice maybe that has stuck with you throughout the years?
I think some of the advice that I got is to make sure that you take time for yourself. Everybody thinks that you can make your own schedule, do what you want when you want, and that's not the case, especially in this market that we have right now.
Yeah.
If you get a call, that house is going in a day.
Yeah.
So you have to be available and you have to be on your toes. But you do need to take some time to decompress and relax a minute.
Yep, for sure. What
What
do you like to do?
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you do, or how do you balance that? Because I know it is crazy, so the time you get is rare right now anyway.
It is. I basically always have to plan on being around and being available on weekends, of course. But, Monday through Friday, a lot of times during the day, that's when everybody's working. I have a 9-year-old son, so him and I can try to get some time in and go to Kennywood or go do a day trip. We have a pool, just take a swim day for a couple hours. Yeah. So just kind of sneak it in whenever you can and try to balance it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Especially being present in the moment. You turn off your phone just for a little bit or set it down, go swimming like you mentioned, and then come back to it.
Yeah, and my rule is dinner time, no phone. If it's a 10-minute dinner, an hour dinner, put the phone somewhere else and just have that time.
Yeah. So you came from the mortgage business, so you probably were a little familiar with how things worked. But how did that first transaction go for you?
Oh, gosh, I was scared. Learning all the forms and then inspection replies. And my first transaction was a little, I think it was a $50,000 condo. And I'm like, we're going to go in foreclosure. We're not going to pay bills like this. But as you got into it and as you got the swing of things and build that clientele, it was good. But yeah, the first one was scary.
Yeah. When you first started out to build that clientele, how did you do that? And what has kind of changed over the years?
My main connections were my sphere of influence, right? Reaching out to everybody, letting them know what I was doing. They knew that I had the mortgage background. So it wasn't that I was just somebody, at the grocery store and checking out things and just jumping into this. And, I had some type of background with the real estate industry. So I think that helped. And then really just farming, introducing myself, going door knocking, doing Popeyes, dropping stuff off at people's doors, and just really getting my name out there.
Yeah, for sure. What is one of the, maybe one of the first ways you tried to market and didn't do very well at? What's something you kind of failed at with marketing that you're like, oh, that didn't work for me?
Or maybe one that you maybe tried and were like, I don't like this. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the door knocking is like my least favorite because that's always tough, you know, to get yourself out there and to do that. So I'll do it, but that's my least favorite. I think some of the mass mailings just aren't really connecting and kind of can be a waste of time and money. I think the biggest form of marketing right now is, you know, social media.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's the way everything's going right now.
Yeah. Is there any advice you kind of got at the beginning or from somebody that kind of helped you along the way? Or maybe some advice that you got and you're like, I didn't follow it, but later on I figured out I should have.
Yeah, I think everybody always tells me, you know, like my dad is great and he's such a hard worker. And he always tells me, don't put off those little tasks. Get those little tasks done, and then the bigger ones don't seem as challenging. Like just keep knocking it down. So every day, you know, I have my old-fashioned notebook and my notes of these are the things that need to be done today, and I have to make sure everyone's checked off.
Yep.
I feel like that's so true, even when it comes down to like everyday chores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyday chores in life. Absolutely.
Yeah. What is the worst property that you think that you've been to, or maybe the worst showing if it's not the worst property?
Oh gosh. Well, there's been a lot. I had a listing and I was there doing an open house and was not informed of this, but I kept hearing really weird noises going on, lights flickering. I'm like, okay, this is like not okay.
Yeah.
And luckily it was like a nice spring day. So it's like, I'll just sit outside. Nobody was in the house. You know, it's like, I'll sit outside until somebody comes. And a neighbor comes up to me and he says, do you know what happened in this house? I said, no, and I don't think I want you to tell me now. Like,
right. That's a big red flag.
Yeah. And he said, you know, somebody committed suicide. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
oh my.
And then he told me where it happened. And whenever I went into that room and like was shutting down for the day, it was just like, you get the goosebumps. You like, yeah, like that stuff just kind of freaks me out. And that was definitely, creepy.
And when you went in there the first time, before you even knew that stuff was happening. So that's even scarier.
Yeah, I had a contractor in there doing some work. And he's like, whenever I went to lock up, he's like, Jen, he's like, there's something not right here. I was like, don't tell me this.
How about you stay here until I leave?
Yeah, right. I'll get you lock up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that gives me chills.
Yeah.
What kind of goals do you have that you want to accomplish for the rest of this year or maybe going into the next year?
So I just went on my own. I was on my own originally for like a few years, and then I joined a team. I was a business partner with somebody. And I really wanted to grow my own business. So that's why I went to Compass, which they're allowing me to do, and they're doing fantastic with. So my goals down the road here are just to kind of get my name out there and eventually start my own team. So that's what I want to accomplish here sooner than later.
That's exciting. Yeah. Do you think when you start building that team, do you have any plans of how big you want that team to be, or just start small and kind of just work your way until?
Yeah, I think you just start small and kind of work. I don't want a huge team. I think that's, you know, the liability of that would kind of scare me at this point, I think. So I would just start small and continue to grow up from there.
That's awesome. Who is your, it's just you by yourself still right now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Who's your first, like what do you think would be the next step? Like the first person for somebody to hire you think would be the next step?
So the next step for me would probably be a buyer agent.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like it. Well, let's say you had to start all over today and you had all the same knowledge you have now. How would you spend that first $1,000? Or how would you tell an agent now to spend their first $1,000?
So if it was an agent, I think I would tell them to invest in marketing themselves, doing the door knocking, you know, getting the ads out. If it was me personally, probably without real estate, I would have probably invested in like Amazon stock years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's like $3,000 a share right now, which is
crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, I think that's what would be going on.
Awesome. Well, how can people get a hold of you?
So my number is 412-897-7908. And my email is Jen.Rausch, Rausch @compass.com.
Awesome.
And I'm on all the social media platforms as well.
Sweet. How can, do you have a website?
That's actually being built right now.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that.
So I don't have that ready to go just yet. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you. Well, keep up the great work. Is there anything else you want to share with everyone before we go?
No, I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me. This is fun.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thanks for coming and sharing your story with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Are these working?
All right.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
It's red.
Yeah. And
Red.
it's blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they listen to on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.